Alright, this is homework section 4.5. I'm going to go ahead and start with number 5. So the first part here, they're asking us to estimate for 6 2/5 and 9 4/5. So we have 6 2/5 times 9 4/5. Remember, what I said we could do was just look at this fraction part. The denominator tells us we have 5 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only where 2 are filled. Here we see not more than half of it's filled, so this number is going to stay as 6. We bring down the multiplication sign. Well, this second fraction tells us, once again, looking at the denominator, that we have 5 equal parts. This time 4 of these are filled. You see at least half of it's filled, so this number goes up to 10. Therefore, for our first part, we do 6 times 10, which gives us 60. Therefore, that's our answer for this first part. Second part, for exact. So remember, what we're going to do with exact is work with these mixed numbers and change them to improper fractions. Well, remember, we do 6 times 5, which is 30. 30 plus 2 gives us 32 over 5. Then we do 9 times 5, which is 45. We add 4, which is 49. Remember, here we're just multiplying fractions, so we just multiply across. 32 times 49. And 5 times 5. So our next step here is to go ahead and multiply these fractions. And we multiply 32 times 49. That gives us a large number like 15. $68. And we multiply the bottom, 5 and 5, gives us 25. Here we got a large improper fraction. They tell us they want a mixed number, so we remember all we have to do is just long division. And if you recall, what I told you to do is on your calculator, just divide. And when you divide these here, you're going to get some large, you're going to get a number with the decimal, 62.72. You get 62.72. I told you just ignore the numbers after the decimal. We put 62 up here. And now we do 62 times 25, which gives us 1550. We just subtract 8 minus 0, 8, 6 minus 5 is 1, and that cancels off. 5 minus 5, 0, 1 minus 1 is 0. Remember, this number is going to be our whole number. The remainder is going to go on the top, or our numerator, and the 25 will come right down here. Here we try to see if we can reduce this fraction, this mixed number. We see we will not be able to. There we got our answer there. So let's look at another one. Here they're going to ask us to do 2 parts again. Estimate. Once again, remember, what are we going to look at here? Hopefully you said the fraction. We have 3/4. So that means there's 4 equal parts, 3 of them that are shaded. More than half is shaded, so this 4 is going to go to a 5. We bring down the plus sign. Once again, we look at our fraction, know that there's going to be 8 equal parts. Here we see at least, our numerator tells us that 7 of these 8 equal parts are shaded. Once again, more than half is shaded, so this 3 goes to a 4. So for the estimated part, we get a solution of 9. Now for the exact. First thing we're going to do, change these mixed numbers to improper fractions. 4 times 4, 16. 16 plus 3, we get 19 over 4. 8 times 3 is 24. 24 plus 7 is 31. Here recall we can't multiply, or we can't add these fractions until we have an LCD. Our LCD is going to be 8. Remember, we look at the denominators and find the multiples. 4 times 1, 4. 4 times 2, 8. 8 times 1, 8. We see, find our LCD to be 8. So if I multiply this first fraction by 2, you'll see that I'll get my denominator to be 8. And we just have to do 19 times 2. When we multiply 19 times 2, we get it to be 38. So now we'll be able to add our numerators. Denominators stay the same. Once we add 38 plus 31, we get 69 over 8. But once again, we have a improper fraction, so all we'll do is division. And we know that 8 times 8 gives us 64. We subtract, we get 5. So, this number up here on the top is our whole number. The remainder is our numerator. And remember, our denominator won't change. Here we see we can't reduce it, so that is our solution. One thing I want you to notice, look at how these numbers are pretty close together. If you rounded this, that would be 9 as well. Let's do one more. This time it's involving subtraction. So once again, let's start with the estimating. We have 4 and 4/5. So remember, we just look at the fraction. We have 5 equal parts. 4 of those are shaded, so this 4 goes to a 5. We're subtracting here. And here, by looking at this fraction, you know you're going to have 15 equal parts. 13 are shaded, so at least more than half of it. So that 1 is going to turn into a 2. You subtract, and you find the estimated to be 3. For the exact now. Remember, anytime we have two mixed numbers, we cannot do any work until we change those mixed numbers to improper fractions. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 plus 5, we get 21 over 4. 1 times 5 is 15. 15 plus 13 gives us 28. Once again, we got to find our LCD. And here we got some pretty big numbers, 4 and 15. So one thing I might recommend here is just multiply this by 4. Multiply this side by 15. Here you'll see we have our denominators to be the same. So we do 15 times 4. We'll see we'll get a denominator to be 60 for both of these. And then we do 15 times 21. This first one will be 315. And we do 28 times 4. I'll get the second one to be 112. So now that we have similar denominators, we will be able to subtract. Keep our denominator the same. And we do 315 minus 112 gives us a solution of 203 over 60. Now we could divide. And remember, I said when you have some big numbers that are going to be dividing, you could always use your calculator. And you divide your numerator by your denominator, and you see you get 3.383, and it keeps going. And just ignore the decimals and put your number in the front, this whole number in the front. 6 times 3 gives you 180. You subtract 203 from 180, and you get a solution of 23. So this number is your whole number, remainder is a numerator, and your denominator doesn't change. You try to reduce this, you see it will not reduce. Once again, you can always verify by looking and seeing if these are pretty close, and you see they sure are. So let's look at this next one. They want us to find the unknown length, and they give us this information. Well, what we could do is, if we know the total length being 12 1/2, we can just subtract each of these edges. 3 1/2 and 1 1/4 from the total. Once again, we have mixed numbers, so let's go ahead and change all these mixed numbers to improper fractions. 12 times 2 is 24. 24 plus 1 is 25 over 2. Bring down the minus sign. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7 over 2. 1 minus times 4 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5 over 2. We find our LCD to be 2, which means we just multiply this fraction by 2, that fraction by 2. Also this fraction by 2, that fraction by 2. So you get 50 over 4 minus 14 over 4 minus 5 over 4. Now that all of our denominators are the same, we can just write one whole fraction and put all of our numerators into subtraction signs on the top. And now all we have to do is subtract. 50 minus 14 minus 5 gives a solution of 31. But here we got an improper fraction. They want either a proper or mixed. So I'm going to have to change 31 over 4 by dividing. And we know 7 times 4 is 28. We subtract there and we get 3. So the 7 is our whole number, 3 is the remainder, which is our numerator, and our denominator will stay the same. And the last problem we're going to look at here is this one. It tells us a cream is solid in a 38-gram container. The average amount of cream used per application is 2 1/9 grams. So how many applications can be made from these 38 containers? And we're going to be pulling applications of 2 1/9. So all we're going to be doing here is dividing. Okay. We can write 38 as a fraction by putting it over 1. We change this mixed number. 9 times 2 is 18 plus 1 is 19 over 9. Remember, when we divide fractions, we rewrite the first one, change the second division sign to multiplication, and we flip. And now we know we're just going to multiply across. 38 times 9. 1 times 19. And when we multiply 38 times 9, we get a number like 342. 1 times 9 is just 19. Well, let's see what happens when we divide here. When we divide, we just get this nice number like 18. 18 times 9 is 342. We get no remainder, therefore our answer here is just 18.